Alright, UFC 118, beat Japan Frankie Edgar 2. Probably my last video of the day, despite intentions to do otherwise. It's not getting late, but I do have to get up really early. So anyways, let's have a look at the main card. I do not like the way they have this organized now. I do not know where the main card necessarily begins. Which is a bit weird. I'm going to assume it is the Nate Diaz-Marcus Davis fight. That is the first particularly interesting fight. So here we go. Marcus Davis, good boxer, has developed a ground game and additionally some wrestling during his time in MMA. Probably one of the boxers that has legitimately taken the game to the heart and learned to become very well rounded. He's fighting Nate Diaz, who's an excellent grappler. I want to say he's a purple belt, but he might actually be a brown belt. He's lanky. At 170, he does, I think, have certain level of issues in that he's not that big. That being said, I see Diaz being able to trouble Davis on the feet. He is starting to slow down and lacking the explosiveness and speed that his striking used to have. He's been on a little bit of a downturn here. If I could pull it up, I would tell you exactly what I mean by that. Davis, I think, on the downward swing of his career. Diaz still on the upswing. On the ground, Diaz has it. On the feet, I think Diaz has it. Though Davis being able to outbox him would in absolutely no way surprise me. So, I've gone back and forth on this one. I'm going to take Nate. I say he will probably submit Marcus Davis at some point later on in the fight. I'm going to say late second round, he grabs a sub of some kind, because I don't really see him knocking Davis out or being able to stop him with strikes, even if he can indeed outstrike him. I'm still not sure about the move to 170 for Diaz. I guess he was lacking in strength anyways, at lower weight class to 155, but I don't know. I just think his home is more there. Gray Maynard, Kenny Florian. This is another fight I've gone back and forth with. Gray Maynard's got some pretty solid stand-up, very good wrestling. Ground game has not overly impressed me. Kenny's got a very solid stand-up game. He will go for cuts, which is something that I don't particularly like, but it is a way to win fights for him. He has a very solid ground game. He's a very smart fighter. Cardio I don't think is really an issue for either of these guys. Maynard is the bigger fighter. Originally I was thinking Maynard would just take down Kenny and kind of control him, but we've called for that in the past because that's what Sean Shirk did, and it hasn't happened. Maynard also has a hard time controlling people, and he had a very hard time taking down Nate Diaz in their fight, which has me very worried. I have to go Kenny now, probably via a sub, because Maynard's got a pretty good chin. Although a TKO via cut is always a possibility in a Kenny Florian fight. I'm going to say he subs him in the third round, because Maynard's just not heavily a finisher. I mean, he has finished people before, but that being said, I don't think his skills are catered finishing Kenny Florian, and Kenny's a very dangerous fighter in all aspects of the game. I think that's something that makes it hard to just wrestle him. And that's why I got to give it to Kenny. Then we have Demian Maia, Mario Miranda. This was originally supposed to be, I believe, the Alan Belcher fight against Demian Maia. I was taking Maia then. I'm taking Maia now, even more so, because I don't think... Miranda's got the better stand-up game, but in the end, this fight's going to hit the ground. Any fight that hits the ground with Demian Maia, there's a very good chance I'm going to pick Demian Maia. He's a guy he's willing to pull guard to do it. The only guy that really, made him look foolish was Anderson Silva, of course. I say he subs Miranda, and I think it's pretty quickly, because I think Miranda, the Brazilian machismo has always dictated that at some point they're going to try and go to the ground with someone. Anderson Silva is one of the exceptions to this. And Miranda, his bread and butter is the ground game. It's not as good as Maia's. His stand-up is better, but he's not the type of guy that's going to be able to Anderson Silva Maia. Just completely stay out of reach. Maia's going to, I think, be able to get him down, and he's going to be able to submit him. Then, of course, we have Boxing versus MMA, Randy Couture versus James Toney. This is a hard fight to predict on because of the controversy, the disagreeing reports about James Toney's training. Some say that James is just learning to box with smaller gloves on. He's a phenomenal boxer. The best boxer probably ever to step in the ring, because I think that title was probably held by Ray Mercer. That being said, if that's what he's doing, he will lose, because he will get taken down and he will either get pounded out or subbed probably in the first round. That being said, I don't think James Toney is that stupid or that delusional. I think he is working the takedown defense. I think he is working the ground game somewhat. That being said, there's only so much you can do in a short period of time. That makes me think I had to go with Randy Couture. Randy is not glass-jawed. He's got a pretty solid chin. I think he will be able to take down James Toney. People have stated that James Toney will have a really good clinch. I've never really thought that the boxing clinch can beat the Greco-Roman clinch, because the Greco-Roman clinch is looking to take you down, and the boxing clinch doesn't really look to stop it in a serious way. It looks to getting good shots. I mean, if anyone thinks Randy Couture is going to come out there and be able to dirty box Toney, that's not going to happen. Toney's got good insight. Is going to be a good guy is going to be a bad guy to mess with in that kind of game. That being said, it's like anything. I can't really pick the boxer coming in against a seasoned fighter like Randy. If he was coming in and he was fighting someone like James Sandman Irvin or something like that, I would probably pick Toney. But Randy's the kind of guy who's going to game plan this. I think he should be able to win. If Toney does win, it's going to be by the knockout in the first round. Either way, I don't see this fight getting out of the first round. Main event of the evening, Penn Edgar 2. I'm obviously picking BJ because I picked him the first time, and I personally thought that it was a very close fight, and additionally, BJ did not look right. He looked slow. I think BJ is going to take this seriously. I think he's going to come in there. I think he's going to have something to prove. Outside of GSP, if you have beaten BJ in the past and he fights you the second time, he tends to come out like a house of cards on fire. He'll come out there. I think on the feet, Penn has the superior power. Edgar might have the superior technical boxing, but in the end, I don't think he has the power to really hurt BJ. In the wrestling game, Edgar is a better wrestler, but BJ is a bigger guy. I've said it before, I think Edgar's home is more the 145-pound weight class, where I think he is an absolute monster if he can make that weight. But in the end, I think this is BJ Penn's fight to pick up the title again. As for how it ends, I'm going to go with a submission. Frankie's not been submitted to my reckoning, although he may have lost. He did lose to Jim Miller, and that might have been by sub. So I could be mistaken. But I see BJ being able to at some point get him to the ground, at some point being able to sub him. I'm not really sure on the round, because Edgar learned a lot, and Edgar got a lot of confidence off that fight, and there's some good things to that. Quickly look at the undercard. We got Mike Pierce versus Amilcar Alves. Got to go with Mike Pierce. Superior wrestling generally trumps good BJJ. Nick Oshipshak, Greg Soto. Got to go with Greg Soto. I'm not a big Oshipshak fan. I think that his wrestling is somewhat lacking. His stand-up is good, but not that good. His ground game is good, but not that good. So I have to go with Greg Soto just being a better fighter. Probably goes to decision, though, because he's really tough. Pierce by decision, too, by the way, over Alves. Then we have Jim Miller versus Dan Miller. Dan Miller versus John Salter. Gotta go with Dan Miller. John Salter's been really not that impressive to me. Probably via stoppage, actually. I'm going to say sub. I don't have much faith in Salter's ground game, and I think Miller can get him down. Andre Winner versus Nick Lentz. Got to go with Andre Winner. Generally, I like to go with the wrestler, because I always said being able to dictate where the fight goes is always a really, really good thing. That being said, I have some questions about Lentz's ability to take a punch at times, and Andre Winner is a fast, powerful guy, and not a guy to be taken lightly. Probably a second-round TKO. Joe Lozon, Gabe Rudiger. Joe Lozon all the way by whatever he wants, really. Rudiger is not a UFC-level fighter. I thought we learned this, and I don't know why he's back. Anyways, that's the fight card. I hope you guys enjoy. I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy this card.